Imagine surviving the initial system integration, only to realize your cheat ability comes with a massive catch. You're sponsored by a ruthless, galaxy-spanning mega corporation, and they demand a return on their investment. Now, the system is expanding its reach, and your corporate overlords want their brand front and center in the apocalypse. Welcome to New Growth Earth, the second hilarious, action-packed installment in Tom Larcombe's sponsored system series. If you love deeply crunchy lit RPG progression, corporate satire, and the sheer, unadulterated joy of watching an underdog use sponsored corporate loopholes to break the apocalypse, this audiobook will completely consume you. It is a masterclass in progression fantasy, blending tactical base building, mind-bending system mechanics, and the awe-inspiring thrill of weaponizing capitalism against world-ending monsters. The narrative kicks off as the system continues its new growth phase on Earth, expanding the integration zones, dropping higher-tier monsters, and forcing humanity to adapt or die. But for our protagonist, the real nightmare is the sponsor. The atmosphere is a brilliant mix of gritty post-apocalyptic survival and the laugh-out-loud absurdity of having to fulfill mandatory corporate objectives while dodging lethal mana beasts. Larcombe excels at scaling the threat level, making every new zone, every sponsored quest, and every corporate mandate feel like a high-stakes, hilarious puzzle where the fine print is just as dangerous as the monsters. At the core of the book's addictive appeal is its brilliantly logical, deeply crunchy progression system and the spectacular corporate-sponsored trope. This isn't just about killing monsters and leveling up. It's about optimizing your build to satisfy shareholder value, unlocking sponsored skill trees, and using branded, overpowered corporate gear to absolutely dismantle arrogant high-tier enemies. Watching the protagonist min-max his sponsored perks, exploit the legal loopholes of his contract, and completely shock the local apocalypse elites with his blatant, highly effective product placement is incredibly satisfying. The audiobook narration brings the visceral impact of the combat and the satisfying, chiming ding of a sponsored milestone to life, making every corporate payout feel like a massive victory. But beyond the stats and the corporate satire, the soul of Sponsored System lies in its characters and the hilarious, pragmatic dynamics of the crew. The protagonist isn't a grimdark edgelord. He's a highly practical, slightly sarcastic survivor who treats the apocalypse like a hostile corporate takeover. He quickly forms bonds with a beautifully dysfunctional found family of survivors who are just as bewildered by his sponsor-mandated antics as the enemies are. The banter is razor-sharp, providing much-needed levity as his friends watch him casually secure a multi-million credit sponsorship deal in the middle of a boss fight. As the plot accelerates towards its climax, the pacing becomes utterly breathless. The new growth event reaches a fever pitch, unleashing a massive, high-tier dungeon break or a rival faction army that threatens his territory, all while his sponsor demands a live, galaxy-wide broadcast of the battle. The finale is a spectacular display of tactical brilliance, overwhelming sponsored firepower, and raw, unadulterated ingenuity. The protagonist doesn't just survive the assault, he completely shatters the local power scaling, using a ridiculous, highly technical corporate loophole to turn the enemy's ultimate attack into a massive ratings-boosting victory. The payout is spectacular, delivering a massive dopamine-fueled triumph that proves the most dangerous class in the system isn't the one with the biggest sword, it's the one with the best legal team. New Growth Earth is a triumph of the lit RPG and system apocalypse genres. It is smart, hilarious, and unapologetically addictive. Tom Larcombe has crafted a masterclass book that perfectly captures the thrill of breaking the apocalypse with a corporate contract. Plug in your headphones, check your sponsor metrics, and join the protagonist. The system is growing, but his profit margins are growing faster.